Chapter 1, Curiosity as the Compass, the Galileo Way to Wisdom. When the Italian scientist first peered through a modest telescope, he was not looking for a new star, but for a deeper truth about the cosmos. His words later echoed through centuries. All scientific knowledge comes from observing. In those quiet moments of observation, Galileo laid the foundation for a leadership style built on curiosity, evidence, and the relentless pursuit of truth. The story begins in 1609 when Leonardo's nephew sent him a telescope from the Netherlands. Galileo polished the glass, adjusted the lenses, and turned his eye to the heavens. He saw the rugged, bulging mountains on the moon, the four faithful companions orbiting Jupiter, and the steady phases of Venus, a subtle drama that whispered the truth of a sun-centered world. Most important for leaders, he also saw that knowledge demands observation before judgment. Today's executives can learn from this practice. Imagine a product manager who steps out of her data dashboard, reads the user emails, sits in a cafe where customers chat, and then writes a story that captures their pain. That is the same kind of observational wisdom Galileo would have liked. It removes the fog of assumptions. Motivational insights. 1. Observe before you decide. 2. Seek truth uncolored by belief. 3. Let curiosity be your North Star. Concrete application. Create a listening loop in your team meetings. Spend the first 5 minutes collecting raw stories before deliberation. Use a simple observation notebook for your daily decisions. Jot what you see, what you hear, and what you feel. When confronted with a market trend, test it by talking directly to a handful of customers before making a bold move. Takeaway. Galileo's first step was to observe. A leader's first and last gift to a team is the habit of seeing the real world, not the one they imagine. Call to action. If you want a life that follows the star of discovery, like this video, share with your team, and subscribe to our channel for more leadership wisdom drawn from science and history. Reflective question. What one observation can you make today that will shift your next leadership decision? Chapter 2, Courage to Challenge, the Galileo Principle of Bold Leadership. Galileo did not simply observe, he dared to voice what he saw. When he wrote that the Earth revolves around the sun, he confronted the very institution that held his nation's soul, the Church. I must follow the truth, even if it means breaking the chain of convention. Those words turned into a declaration of courage that modern leaders still need. His most famous anecdote involves a heated debate with an official at the College of Florence who asked whether the Earth was a moving body. Galileo replied that the Earth was as a star or a moon. That reply, for which he later faced the Inquisition, forged a leader's identity as someone willing to confront the loudest voice when the evidence calls loudly. Motivational insights. 1. Stand up for evidence, even against authority. 2. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act anyway. 3. Innovation requires a willingness to disturb the status quo. Concrete application. In your next board meeting, present data that may dislodge a comfortable narrative. Explain simply why the old path may break the path forward. Encourage your team to challenge processes without fear. Celebrate failed experiments as fast learning. When a client's demand seems impractical, politely explain why you cannot compromise on quality, citing concrete evidence for your decision. Takeaway. Galileo's courage rewrote the cosmic map. A leader's courage rewrites the company map. Call to action. Like, share, and subscribe to keep the momentum of bold leadership. Reflective question. When was the last time you felt fear standing in the way of presenting a truth? How might you let it drive, not stop, your leadership? Chapter 3, Perseverance in the Face of Adversity, the Galileo Method of Resilience. After the Church arrested him, Galileo was imprisoned, but he still continued his work from inside a small, ill-ventilated cell. His notebooks bore the signatures, "I found a man who, for the love of knowledge, would not let a power stop his mind." He could not see stars in that cell, yet he continued to write the theories that saved generations from old doctrine. Perseverance, therefore, is the third pillar of his leadership legacy. The modern leader who fails often will face similar obstacles: market downturns, competitive threats, or internal resistance. Yet, the habit of continuing research or a strategy Under pressure is what sets successful companies apart. Motivational insights. 1. Continue the mission even when the lights go out. 2. Failure is not a verdict but a temporary pause. 3. Resilience comes from a belief that progress is possible. Concrete application. Set a daily progress log that records even the smallest wins, so that when the environment feels bleak, you have a record of movement. During a pivot, ask your team, what small experiment can we run that will bring data and momentum? Build a resilience playbook that outlines how to keep the vision alive when resources shrink. Takeaway. Galileo's perseverance taught that the night of imprisonment was only a dark corridor. The day of his ideas blossomed years later. Call to action. If you wish to be the leader who keeps moving forward, give this video a thumbs up, share with your network, and subscribe for practical resilience lessons. Reflective question. What small step can you take today in your project that will keep your momentum alive during challenges? Chapter 4, Humility and Knowledge, the Galileo gift of being a learner. Galileo's most famous claim came after he won the debate and the trial. I have a different opinion. He knew he could not pretend to know everything, and that humility opened doors rather than closed them. He invited debate, asked colleagues to check his calculations, and released data to test his theories. Leaders can learn that the highest wisdom is knowing your limits and listening to others. Today's corporate world is replete with gurus who proclaim full mastery, yet the smartest leaders treat people as partners in knowledge. Galilean humility creates an environment where ideas flourish. Motivational insights. 1. Admitting what you don't know is power. 2. Let others challenge you. Their insight will polish your strategy. 3. Continuous learning is the heart of leadership. Concrete application. Initiate a learning committee that reviews decisions and invites experts from outside your domain. Practice the simple ritual before each meeting. Ask, what do I need to hear from you that I have missed? Publish a quarterly idea journal that collects team suggestions, even those that fail, and reflects on lessons. Takeaway. Galileo's humility did not soften his convictions. It strengthened them by letting truth surface. Call to action. If you're ready to shift from I know best to I seek better, like, share, and subscribe for more stories of humility that transform leadership. Reflective question. Which new perspective could you invite into your next meeting that might reshape your current strategy? Chapter 5, Vision and Communication, the Galileo legacy of making the cosmos accessible. A scientist may hold a theory, but a leader must make it visible to others. Galileo's 1616 treatise, Dialogues Concerning Two New Sciences, and his 1632 book, Dialogue Concerning the Two Chief World Systems, were written in a language that anyone could understand. He did not hide his observations. He told a story that pulled readers into the orbit of a heliocentric universe. Leaders today must do the same. Translate complex data into narratives that inspire employees, investors, and customers. Motivational insights. 1. Vision is a story that aligns hearts and minds. 2. Communication is the bridge that turns insight into action. 3. An inspiring narrative outlasts a perfect plan. Concrete application. When presenting a new strategy, frame it as a story. The problem, the Earth's wobble; the discovery, the phase shift; and the solution, the global impact. Write a one-pager mission statement that simplifies your long-term vision for all levels of the organization. Use storytelling tools, analogies, metaphors to translate data into relatable images. Imagine telling a group that a new customer acquisition cost is like a new star being born in the company sky. Takeaway. Galileo's genius wasn't only his discovery, but the way he shared it. Leadership is the art of carrying the light of truth into the minds and hearts of people. Call to action. If you want to master the art of turning insight into influence, like this video, share it with your network, and subscribe for more insights that make leadership shine. Reflective question. How can you transform one of your strategic ideas into a story that captures the imagination of everyone in your organization? Conclusion, the celestial path of leadership. From the humble beginnings of a telescope to the roar against the heavens, Galileo taught us that wisdom in leadership is rooted in observation, courage, perseverance, humility, and the power to inspire. Today, you carry these principles in the pulse of your organization. Observe the market, question the comfortable, stand firm through setbacks, ask for new data, and tell a story that lights up your team's purpose. The cosmos may have been rearranged by one bold mind, but the same universe of possibility awaits in every leadership office. Let's step out of the darkness and begin the journey that Galileo would have admired. An endless quest for truth, led by a fearless heart and a humble mind, and guided by a story that brings people together. Final call to action. If this path of wisdom has sparked you, hit the like button, share with fellow leaders, and subscribe to stay connected to more guidance that lights the way to inspired leadership. Stay curious, stay brave, and keep your eyes on the stars.